All right, guys, we call this
The Rewind?
from
T-Mobile?
Well,
T-Mobile
we're from
Rewind?
TexAgs.
TexAgs Rewind.
Presented by T-Mobile.
Yeah, and they want you to visit T-Mobile.com/across America to learn how you get more value and
Service?
Savings.
coverage, service. Yeah,
okay.
it's a great plan. How
I
about that?
occasionally pay attention.
Yep. These are the fan show guys, and that's such a rude way of introducing Kelly and Matt, but that's how we announce them here on the show. So we had a fun show today, right?
We did.
We did.
Yeah.
What's the most overrated sitcom of all time?
Seinfeld.
Okay, you can never come back on the fan show.
sponsor.
Eliminated from contention.
I sponsor it. I'm here.
Gosh, Doggy, you're right. Oh, man.
Yeah, he doesn't represent us.
It's all right.
Gosh.
I have opinion.
You really think Seinfeld's...
I never got into it. I never liked it very much.
Did you give it more than like 10 minutes?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, then you're crazy.
I just never liked it.
I'm not in the mood to
No
talk
soup
anymore.
for you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No
no soup for me.
show for you. You know what? I can still cancel it. We don't need a sponsor. We'll just go. Cold turkey.
I'll sponsor it.
All right.
Hey, whoa.
Hey, now.
Chill.
On the rewind, we have Trey Zune, 22 and 22. We are high on Trey Zune. This guy's going to be your starting left tackle. Stephen McGee joined the show. He's great as always. We also had Aaron Torres, AT, and Kevin Noon, who covers Ohio State. They are legit. We got a little preview right after Big Ten Media Days. All that and more here on TexAgs Rewind. It is time for our 22 and 22 with number 22, and this is brought to you by Factory Builder Stores, celebrating their new College Station location. They're on 11907 Welburn Road, right next to Ashley Furniture Outlet. Factory Builder Stores can service builders and general public with locations throughout Texas, but especially right here in College Station. You've got Liberty, class of 2019 there. You've got Wally out there. They'll take great care of you in any of your appliance needs. They supply more than 40 different brands of appliances and cabinets, and they've committed to getting you the best products at the best prices and providing you with superior customer service. They have a very competitive pricing on all the top appliances and work hard to make sure that you're getting the best deals that fit any budget. Factory Builder Stores can outfit any job, works with virtually any builder in town. They have trusted name and have been the go-to appliance store in Aggieland since they opened back in 1992. The College Station showroom is open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 a.m. at Old Welburn Road in College Station or online at factorybuilderstores.com. OB, number 22 happens to be...
Trey Zune, number 60.
And why is he number 20? Why is he showing up on the list here? And let me just preface it with this. All the reviews about him at spring camp were fantastic. And let's not forget about the hype chain about him when he got to campus here just over a year ago.
Well, I think we've heard Billy say it, so believe it, that he would have played a lot, probably would have ended the season as a starter if not for his injury last year. And I think he came here as a high 4-star recruit. Jimbo's has raved about him. So, and he's going to play a lot. I mean, he's projected to be a starter.
He was probably going to start the bowl game back in, I guess, December. Sorry.
Yeah, probably, because he was healthy now. But you know what? Had he been healthy, he probably would have been a starter by midseason.
Yeah.
And so I just think that you look at this guy, that you like what you see from him. The coaches like what you see from him. You don't want to go too overboard, but 22 is very realistic.
Starting left tackle for a team that's going to run the ball well. A guy who could have started last year, but because of injury, did not start. He is a masher, 6'6", 315. And as you mentioned, Jimbo's been raving about it.
And he needs to be at least the number 22 player. If he's number 22 or better, that will solve or ease a lot of worries at one of the positions of concern. A&M doesn't have a whole lot of positions of concern, but that's one because you're starting a guy who hadn't started yet before.
Sure. So camp is 6 days away, Stephen. Obviously this is a full-time gig when you're playing college football. You're working out in the summer when you get to campus, yada, yada, yada. But there is something about leading up to the first day when it becomes official. What's that feel like that week leading up to it?
I hope these guys are getting away for a little bit because training camp and going into fall camp in college as well, it's the worst. I mean, it's miserable for coaches. It's miserable for athletes. You're tired. All you do is just see a bunch of stinky 22-year-old guys every day. And so like if you have a girlfriend, if you're able to like see your girlfriend at all during that like 6 to 8 week window, it's like it's an amazing sight. It's just like, you know, fresh air. It's, you know, something different. It's a rough experience, but I think it's that it kind of forms the team, right? You all struggle together. It's tough on everybody. It's hot for everybody. No one escapes it. But this window here, it's like your last breath of reset. The hay's in the barn, so to speak. All the work's been done. I think now they need to get away and enjoy some downtime.
Since you brought, who was the stinkiest, sweatiest teammate?
Oh, for sure, Kirk Elder. Oh, Chris Yoder's pretty stinky. I don't know. That's a hard one. It's definitely an offensive lineman.
I would think it'd be your center.
Well,
especially back then, you weren't in the shotgun, were you?
A little bit.
I would ask to be in the shotgun every play. Do you want to get under center with a guy that's sweating like that? And
Never, especially in this heat.
Where you have to put your hands.
The worst, Cody Wallace, our center for
a good
my
player,
first
by
3
the way.
years. Great player, great human being, but could sweat with the best of them. And he would wear these baggy short. It was like every time I went under center, he had like a beach towel and you just dumped it into the pool and you just pulled it from the bottom of the pool. That was Cody's shorts. But of course, butt sweat, you know, on your hand. You didn't make it through camp without having a stinky hand. Like, I could wash it. I could do whatever. There's no escaping it. Now, Kevin Matthews, center my senior year under Sherman, much drier.
The depths we can plunge to on this show.
We're going to have to clip this and make this a social media little hit because people need to know about sweaty backsides.
Well, when you're a quarterback. So I would think quarterbacks embrace the whole idea of, you know, being the shotgun.
For sure. You know, the frustrating thing for quarterbacks is when the center would sweat all over the football. It's like, hey, whatever you do, I don't want to get a ball that feels like it just got rained on. Like, give me a dry football. And, you know, it's like they made it their goal every snap to make it as wet as possible.
You're going through Vegas odds out there, and you're taking the over or the under. And I believe A&M's was 8.5, and you're like, they're a 10-win team.
Well, I think so. You know, I mean, listen, I mean, maybe 9-3. And listen, my concerns are the same as everybody's is what happens at the quarterback position. And I think it's kind of a really interesting deal, right? Because we never really got to see what Haynes King can do. I'm a little honestly lower on Max Johnson than everybody else. I think his ceiling is really low, but he's not going to lose you games either. And then Connor Wegman, I mean, you guys know better than me how ready he is to go, or will he be ready to go this year? And I think the expectation is probably that he doesn't play very much. But, you know, I think part of it is you look at the rest of the division. The division's wide open, right? I mean, LSU, I think it's easy to kind of just label LSU, oh, they always have talent. They had like 42 players on for their bowl game the last time we saw them. And I know they filled up in the portal and all that stuff, but small recruiting class, not, you know, historically what they've done. You know, Ole Miss, I do think takes a step back in part because they lost both their coordinators, including DJ Durkin, who's now at A&M. You know, so you start going through the list. Arkansas lost a ton, really veteran team, took advantage of that 5th, 6th year of eligibility last year. Who am I missing? There's one other team I wanted to mention in this mix. I can't remember, but the point is that just there's a lot of teams that are losing a lot. And I know the consensus with A&M is that they're probably really a year away from really being in that upper echelon. But I do think you start looking around the SEC West, and as weird as it sounds, toughest division, I do believe. I also think there are wins to be had in this division.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I want to go to Arkansas for a minute because apparently you didn't get all the press clippings that I got at SEC Media Days that they are the 3rd best team in the SEC West. Look, I think they're pretty good. Like I agree with you that they lost, but they also kept a lot too. They kept their quarterback, who I think is a big part of what they do. Their offensive line is intact, so there's reasons to believe in them. But come on, to be the 3rd best team, I think you took the under with them. Am I right? I'm trying to look at my notes here. You have them.
I kind of just
go ahead.
Yeah, I stayed away from that one. You know, I think what's interesting about a few teams is you have to kind of look at who they played and when they played them, right? So I think Kentucky in the East is a perfect example. We might have talked about that a few weeks ago. They play Florida before Florida has a complete meltdown. And if we didn't at the time, Florida was in the top 10 when they played them. They beat Florida. Everyone thinks it's this incredible win. Florida's terrible. Same with LSU a week later. And so when I look at Arkansas, I like them. And I think everything that you said is true. I think KJ Jefferson, by the way, is totally underrated. Everybody's so excited about Will Levis and all these other guys. KJ Jefferson doesn't get enough credit. 68, 69% completion, 21 touchdowns, few picks, whatever. But I think you also kind of look at how the schedule broke for them last year. I mean, let's be honest. They caught A&M at the right time. A&M clearly got hot late in the season. LSU was way down relative to expectations. And I know I just said that they're down. I just think that a lot of things kind of worked out nicely for them.
It's funny because I heard Kevin Warren speak, and by the way, I think he's sharp. There's no doubt about that. And I had Greg Sankey on the show last week, and just the two different feels to it. To me, the Big Ten is like, look, if the right opportunity's out there right now, we're going to take it. While the SEC is saying, we don't need to expand. We're good. We're going to do what we do.
Yeah, and we weren't that far away from where it looked like the Big Ten was going to stand pat at its current numbers, and that was we go back 1 year ago more or less, and that's when the Texas and Oklahoma news to the SEC came out. We were talking about that at Big Ten Media Days at that point, and it didn't seem like they were nearly as aggressive. But with the Big Ten rights deals coming up, and those should be announced here pretty soon, it's going to be very lucrative for all of its member institutions at that point. They see that there's a lot of money there, and it wouldn't surprise me if the Big Ten signs short deals so it can get back in line and get back to the table once again and be able to make even more money at this point. Because, for everything that we talk about in terms of what conference is about, it's about money, and there's a lot of money to be had out there, and it'll be interesting to see what the landscape looks like here in the next couple of years. We see programs signing deals for games in the 2030s. I don't think we're going to see any of those taking place because I think that everything's going to get blown up here pretty soon.
Kevin, I understand Harbaugh Day's dislike for each other because of the obvious. It's Ohio State, Michigan. But I feel like there's something more to it with those two. Am I reading something that isn't there, or is that like where's the real beef? Is it just because Harbaugh has beef with everybody?
Jim Harbaugh can be a little bit of a prickly pear, depending on who you talk to. I mean, he certainly has his friends, and he certainly has his people that are not on his holiday card list. Ryan Day is not on there. There certainly have been some stories of where the two have sparred at coaches' meetings and had very different views on how things are. And, we can go back to last year and Jim Harbaugh's comments about Ryan Day being kind of born on third base in terms of inheriting Ohio State and, thinking he had a triple. And, I think that there is something there. I don't know if I could just put my finger on one thing and say, well, this is why the two don't get along. I think that it's just there's a little bit of a history. And even I think even some of the biggest Michigan supporters will say that, Jim Harbaugh is a little bit of a strange duck at times. And, he's just not going to sit well with everybody. And I don't think he sits well with Ryan Day and vice versa.
Excuse the ignorance, but I didn't really realize that Ryan Day and Chip Kelly were buddies. I should have from the coaching history. It just didn't click. And then I saw the story about those two playing golf when the news came down. Kevin, can you give us a little bit more insight into that?
Yeah, I mean, they're both from New Hampshire. I mean, Ryan Day, learned under Chip Kelly. I mean, there was, the ties to the San Francisco 49ers. I mean, there's a long history between these guys. It's a New Hampshire thing. I lived in New Hampshire for 2 years. Apparently, I missed my invitation to this Granite State Club or whatever that they're part of, but they were at a golf outing and the news started breaking and they were on the course and Ryan told Chip, hey, we're in the same conference now. And then Ryan Day spoke to Gene Smith, the Ohio State AD, and Chip Kelly spoke to Martin Jarman, the UCLA AD, and it just became, it's like, yeah, this is happening. And, there you go. And, it'll be interesting to see when that happens. I mean, with competition starting in 24, but there are no guarantees with the number of teams that Ohio State and UCLA would play in the first year. But it's just funny how that stuff happens.
Really, Seinfeld?
I never liked Seinfeld.
That's the one you came up with?
Dude, like of all the shows, is that the first show you thought of?
Oh, that's the show I go to every time somebody asks me that question.
Are you kidding me?
Which is not regular.
Are they watching us right now?
I don't know.
Oh, hey, sorry.
I'm just telling you the truth.
Didn't realize that you were watching this happen this disgusting thought happen.
It's-
Matt, I'm going to go to you.
It doesn't represent us.
Can you just tell the people what to do?
Listen, like, share, subscribe, and don't. Seinfeld's fantastic.
I mean, there's a lot. You could have picked a lot of shows. Green Acres,
Yeah.
Hey, it's the place to be.
The
Farm
Munsters.
living is
the
life for me.
Hillbillies, the
Yeah.
Beverly Hillbilly, whatever that show was called.
Black Gold.
Night
All right.
Court. I mean,
Night Court was rough. I didn't like
Night Court,
was rough.
freaking Frasier.
Yeah, Frasier.
I enjoyed Frasier actually.
Okay, see, this is it.
Cheers was good too. By the
Okay.
way. I enjoyed Cheers.
Oh my God,
MASH was great.
just
Loved
tell them
MASH.
from me. I just lost interest.